Hello everyone! Now, as you probably know, there's a lot of world events in Sea of Thieves, but when you have such a variety, there's always going to be some that are worse than others. And today, we're going to be looking at the worst world event and how it got to the state that it's in right now. Let's get into it. To find the worst world event, we have to rule out some of the better ones. So, Fort of the Damned, that's good. Burning Blade, also pretty solid. Ashen Winds, it's getting a bit down there, but it's alright. Skeleton Fleet, pretty solid. And that's where the good ones kinda end. An argument could be made that the Ghost Fleet is one of the worst world events, but it's not too bad. It does take time going through all the ways, but honestly, if you've played the game for more than an hour, you should be able to do it fine. And that leaves us with the Skull Fort, the worst world event in Sea of Thieves. To figure out how they become so bad, we gotta go back in time a bit to when Skull Forts were first released into the game. Skull Forts were the first world event in the game, and it was the only one present at the time, which made them the best way of making gold, since the only other way was doing quests. Pairing this with the fact that they only spawned every 3 hours would make Skull Forts a hotspot for PvP, because everyone wanted in on that action and all that loot. Taking a look at some of the videos uploaded to YouTube at the time really shows that these Skull Forts were the place to be. If you wanted to fight someone, or even the entire server, the Skull Forts were where it was at. I mean, I'm only looking at historical evidence here. I never played the game back then. I was too busy playing Fortnite, getting on that Fortnite grind. Cranking 90s. So we've established that Skull Forts used to be great, but how did they fall from where they once stood? Well, the simple answer to that is the addition of more world events. With more world events came more opportunities to get better loot, and nothing was done about the loot that Skull Forts had. Their loot just remained the same. Other world events would have at least one piece of main loot that would sell for a heap of gold, like the Fort of the Damned having the Athena chest and now having the Chest of Fortune, along with the Reaper's chest, or the Ashen Winds having an Ashen Wind skull, all while Skull Forts were just stuck with some generic loot. And now for a quick word from the Pirate Lord himself. Hello guys, it's me, the Pirate Lord. You gotta subscribe to Saga Free on YouTube because you'll be really super duper cool if you do it. Thanks for that one, Mr. Pirate Lord. Back to the video. In modern day 2025 Sea of Thieves, there's only two real main reasons that people go to world events. One, to make gold, and two, to find some PvP. And the Skull Fort does not provide these two things. People generally avoid Skull Forts because there's just no loot there compared to all the other things that you can do in this game. So 9 out of 10 times there's going to be no one there to contest it and have a fight with. So you don't get much gold from it, and you don't find any PvP there. So it's not really tickling anyone's fancy. I mean, yeah, there might be little to no risk, but there's no reward for it either. The one saving grace that's stopping Skull Forts from being cast into complete obscurity is raid voyages. Once you hit a certain level in either the Gold Hoarders, Order of Souls, Merchants, or Athenas, you can start a raid voyage on a Skeleton Fort. Now obviously you can't make claims without doing some research, so I decided to do a Gold Hoarder raid on a Skeleton Fort. So I had a grand battle with the mutinous helmsman, even hit a 360 jump on him. Opened that vault and was met with 6 chests, a couple cups, and a reliquary that sells for about 25,000 with a grade 5 gold hoarder flag. An item worth 25,000 gold, some chests, some trinkets. While not being terrible, it's not exactly enough to prevent the Skull Fort from being the worst world event in the game. Like I said at the start, there's always going to be world events that are better than the others, but when it gets to a point that these Skull Forts are at, I think something needs to change. So I switched on my brain and came up with a solution to the Skull Fort's loot problem. All that really needs to be done is to just slightly buff the loot. That's it. No drastic changes need to be made, just something simple like give some more valuable chests and skulls, or just like increase the amount of chests and skulls that you get from it. I'm not saying chuck in like a chest of fortune or a chest of legends or anything, but just increase the loot to a point where it's actually worth doing. If the loot's increased, more people would do the event. And if more people are doing the event, that means more PvP surrounding the event. It solves everyone's problems all in one go. When trying to think of a counterpoint to defend the Skull Forts, I can't think of too much, because really, it's just a forgotten event that no one really cares about anymore. So tell me what you think in the comments. Should Skull Forts be buffed in any way, or should they just stay the same as they are? Well, if you enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!